to this day, the idea of seeing a man that I worked for, who shares my birthday for the record, but worked for 5 years, the idea of seeing this man, my pulse just skyrockets. And I hate that he has power over me like that. Hi, I'm Kate. And as you can see, I am in a different location than usual. It's been a bit of a day, bit of a week, bit of a month, and that's fine. We're adapting. Pay no attention to the chaos behind me. And no, my feet are not touching the floor currently. This is not the video I intended to do. I find that that's actually usually the way that this is, but I've always been fairly open and honest that I have no idea what I'm doing at all. To the point where, like, I made a PowerPoint presentation to go with today's video, and I don't actually know how to put it in. So if you see it, I figured something new out, and learning is huge. So let's go. And I'm not actually sure how this video is gonna go, but I need to sort myself out, and that's what this is about. This is just like more therapy. And I had therapy this morning, and we made a breakthrough that I was not anticipating, but I've also been half expecting and sort of avoiding and ignoring. And it's not really like me to be evasive. I'm not good at it. So we need to talk about PTSD. Now, PTSD, as most of us know, stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, it's complicated, obviously. This is a complicated system. So we're going to break down what is PTSD, what are the symptoms, what are the treatments, and then we'll try and wrap it all up into some sort of coherent thought, if possible. Because again, I'm processing in real time. I've been out of therapy long enough today to make a PowerPoint about it, and it's not a super long PowerPoint, but or I'm sorry, I'm not using PowerPoint, but I have slides. Anyway, did you know that 5 to 10% of the population who will experience trauma will experience some form of PTSD? You are 2 times more likely if you were assigned female at birth, so AFAB, than if you were AMAB to experience PTSD. This is not to say that individuals assigned male at birth don't experience PTSD. It's just apparently, according to the Cleveland Clinic, you are 2 times more likely to experience it. And honestly, I actually tried to dig into this a little bit more as to why. I mean, I have some thoughts as to why people assigned female, or it would be easier to say women, but I'm not going to be that exclusionary. But obviously, gender doesn't not play a little bit of a role here. Moving on. What is PTSD? So this is just going to be a quick overview, because obviously it is a complicated, nuanced situation. So, and this is from psychiatry.org. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, series of events, or set of circumstances. An individual may experience this as emotionally or physically harmful or life-threatening, and may affect mental, physical, social, and/or spiritual well-being. So basically, it's a trauma response, which we knew that, obviously. It's right in the name. And the fun thing about it is that it can happen immediately, it can happen way down the line, it can come and go. I have been ignoring some symptoms that I already knew I had PTSD related to some other things, but I was not aware of what I had actually been ignoring, if that makes sense. So we'll continue on to symptoms. And I need to fix some stuff. Okay. Anyway. So there are 4 primary symptoms of PTSD. You have intrusion. So those are your involuntary thoughts, those thought spirals, involuntary memories, nightmares, flashbacks. So if you know, you know. And some of it's and some of those are the most obvious. Like, we all know the stereotype of flashbacks. So the next primary symptom is avoidance. Avoiding reminders of incidents, triggers, intentionally thinking about what your trauma, talking about it. And obviously we've all seen that. And clearly I have been firmly in this avoidance pattern lately. And I'll explain that. Changes in thinking or mood is the third primary symptom. So that's ongoing feelings of fear, guilt, horror, anger, or shame, etc. That's often combined with memory loss of the incident and then feeling just detached from everything. And the last symptom are changes in arousal or reactivity. So you can be more irritable, have more outbursts. You could get more reckless, more self-destructive. You could also be way more hypervigilant, jumpy, have more issues with concentrations and problem sleeping, and among other things. And honestly, putting this together really reframed or demonstrated to me everything my therapist was reminding me of this morning. But I'm one of those people who will intellectually know something, but knowing it for myself internally and what it means for me, that is something that I am not great at. So treatments, what do we do? So great, we've got PTSD. Wonderful. What does that mean? Or what are we supposed to do about it realistically? And fun fact, there isn't like a specific set way of treating this naturally. Because why would there be like this is not an on-off switch situation. We just have to figure out what works from our fun cast of characters of treatments. So talk therapy, and all of this is predominantly filed underneath cognitive behavioral therapy. So talk therapy, cognitive processing therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing for PTSD, which is also known as EDMR, group therapy, medications like antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications, and then other like yoga, acupuncture, things of the mind, plus other clinical treatments out there too. All right, so obviously there's a trigger here as to why we're talking about this today. And naturally, we're leaving it for the final thought section because why would I do anything in the correct order? Why am I talking about this today? Because my final thought is really why I'm here in the first place. I have been, let's see, I've already tried to film this once today. It hasn't gone well, so we're going to try again. Okay. I have made it's not a big secret. I am not currently working. Obviously, no one's watching this, so this isn't monetized. I am not getting paid to do this. I am just here because I need to process in multiple ways. And I used to work for an organization that is geared towards helping disabled individuals find and maintain employment. And at the end of April, I was accused of something by my management structure, of saying something. Now, they wouldn't say exactly what I said. They didn't let the person who said I said it talk to me. And realistically, they didn't actually care what I allegedly said. They were trying to find out something else. They wanted me to start spilling dirt that they thought I had that I didn't have, because I didn't have that kind of information. And I, to this day, do not know how we got to the meeting where suddenly I went from having like a meh kind of day to 15, or I'm just like trying to leave at my usual time and being dragged into a meeting, surprise, with my director, 2 bureau chiefs, and my newish supervisor, who I had misgivings about. And was told not to, ignored those misgivings, and yeah. So then all of a sudden, in addition to being accused of saying something I definitely didn't say, and I would never have had the information, they're now also mad that I'm like friends with someone in the office that's the assistant of someone that they don't like, that's their boss. And also, here's the thing. I'm autistic. They knew I'm autistic. Why does that matter? Well, in addition to maybe not handling this situation well on their end, dealing with someone with a disability, I worked for a vocational rehabilitation agency. We're the people that are there to help individuals with disabilities find and maintain employment. So when the people who have spent 30 years working in this field suddenly just surprise and vilify you and make stuff up about you, and you're in a meeting with them on the 12th floor and you can't get out because they're all sitting in front of the doors, so you're not technically being held hostage, but they're just lambasting you for no reason. And then your director, who you have worked under for 4 years, tells you you have no opinions anymore and to keep your head down. That happened on Administrative Professionals Day. And I barely made it home in one piece, and I had to walk down a hill dodging traffic because no one stops at red lights anymore, not even school buses. Then I had to take a train, and then I had to drive. And then I came home and I just fell apart, right? And Pete actually wanted me to quit that night. He'd wanted me to quit for 2 years by then, but he wanted me to quit that night. And I knew I couldn't do that because that would be letting them win. So I went back to work the next day, and I made it an hour before I had to leave. And I took the rest of the day off. I took the following Friday off. I had a massive migraine because stress, migraine, boom, I was done. I was also shaking. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't stop crying, and I was not going to let them see me cry in public because screw all of them. They are not worth that. Anyway, so from there, I had an emergency therapy session, and my therapist she's still horrified to this day. And then, we started working on the FMLA paperwork. And then I always teleworked on Mondays anyway, so I teleworked. And my supervisor teamsed me, and after we had our conversation where she reiterated everything that went down and then piled on some more for fun, I had a massive panic attack after the last time I talked to her, okay? I'll admit that I had a massive panic attack. So the next day, I went to work with all of my FMLA paperwork, and I also sat down with my HR representative, didn't say what happened, because that's not how state service works. I'll be perfectly honest. And yet I talked to my union too, and my union is useless. AFSCME needs to shake some stuff up, just saying. Anyway, before I get more up here because I'm feeling it today. No, I'm not earning Fitbit minutes, the zone minutes. By 4 p.m. that day, that Tuesday after the Wednesday they blew me up, I had secured FMLA for the entire month of May. And when I was done with my FMLA in May, it took me 3 weeks to stop shaking, for the record. 3. And having people that have always been like, you ever have any problems? You come see me, you tell me. You need any help? Ask. Yeah, how come every time I asked for help in 5 years, I got more work? How come every time I did admit that something was going on and I needed help for, how come I got in trouble for it? Okay? They're liars and hypocrites. But I mean, most people are, is what I figured out over time. So, losing the plot again. Anyway, it became impressively apparent by the end of my FMLA that I could not come back. So I extended for 2 more weeks, used that as my 2 weeks notice, and I did not come back. To the point where the day that I had turned in all of my equipment, I actually had made sure they would not be in the building, because I literally, to this day, the idea of seeing a man that I worked for, who shares my birthday, for the record, but worked for 5 years, the idea of seeing this man, my pulse just skyrockets. And I hate that he has power over me like that. And I hate the bureau chief, who was new and committed fraud on my state credit card, for the record. And my director did nothing about it. And if you worked with me, you have no idea what actually happens in central office, let me tell you. Any of you work in central office, you don't actually know, let me tell you. Because I actually sat there and listened to everything happen the whole time. And I had to listen to everyone complain, I have to come in 1 day a week. I had to come in 3 days a week. Okay? No sympathies here. I am getting so far off, but that's how mad I am. That's what I realized this morning. I'm angry. But how I even got on the subject in the first place is because I was just sitting there on my phone, curled up in my Snuggie, watching Beetlejuice on TV, because Me TV Cartoons has Beetlejuice on at 7:30 in the morning. And isn't that wonderful? It's on after Ghostbusters. Anyway, my Fitbit all of a sudden went, bam, you're earning zone minutes. And I was like, I am sitting snuggied in my Snuggie. And to get Fitbit for zone minutes on your Fitbit is your pulse has to be at 130. And I realized I didn't know what I'd been reading. Couldn't tell you. I was yelling at my former employers. I was angry. And I've been doing this a lot lately. I've been doing it on and off for the past months. So many months. I'm not doing the math right now, but at least 6. 7, 8, we don't know. I've been mad and I'm angry and I want to let go of that. But and so I wrote this off as thought spirals. But what it was ignoring was that the thought spirals shouldn't be raising your pulse to the point where you're basically running up a hill as far as your Starker Tracker watch works. Like it shouldn't be hitting that hard still. And I'm not okay. I haven't been okay since April. But what I was ignoring was the fact that it's more than just bad for me. This is detrimental to my functionality. This is every time I shower, I'm fighting someone who knew better, who should have trusted me. And so I'm 100% sure they were trying to get rid of me, because that is the only excuse for their behavior on April 24th, 2024. And I don't know why I need to be so specific with the date, but that is the date that it won't happen. And how dare they do that to me on Administrative Professionals Day, a day that they mostly forgot about, didn't talk to the rest of the staff about, and I got a $30 Dunkin' Donuts gift card and I don't eat their donuts, generally speaking, and I don't drink coffee, and everyone knows that. So, thanks. Wow, I am pissed. I am so pissed. It's been a weird day. I'm having a weird day. This is maybe not going to go well, and we'll see if I actually post this, because I haven't wanted to talk about what happened at work. I'm not ready, obviously. But avoiding it has allowed PTSD to develop. And I think I had it already, but I wasn't ready to start calling it that. And I have to start calling it that now, you know? I have to stop being in denial. I have to start figuring out how to fix this, because it was bad enough to just be in burnout. Autistic burnout is so horrible. I'm still not there. But this new PTSD that I'm now dealing with, I now am going to have to handle it. And I'm a little bit afraid of what that's going to entail. My therapist and I are talking a lot about EDMR. And I think that that's wonderful. I'm always been really hesitant to try things and stuff, and that's why I'm not on any medications. Plus, I have digestive issues, and I'm not entirely sure that fun medications or helpful medications would help with. And I have there's all kinds of treatments out there, and we think that that might be the thing. But in the meantime, what I am trying to work on doing for the rest of at least the next few weeks is how to catch my spirals before they go into a full flashback. How do I distract myself before I get like this worked up and ready to like Hulk smash? And so I find that having like a warhead, a sour warhead, not a spicy warhead, because that would just, I don't need an allergic reaction. I need a shock to the system to reset me. So go back to warheads of using sensory toys. I need to dig out stress balls and stuff. I have like a little robot-y fidget spinner but I need something to squeeze. I'm also considering looking at a rage room, but where I have it hurts to stir things. I made brownies yesterday and almost cried. So I don't know that I can smash anything, though I really feel like I need to. So I'm working on it. And if you are dealing with any of these symptoms of PTSD, I strongly encourage you to work on it too. Because we don't have to live this way. It doesn't have to be this hard. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know what that looks like. I'm told that I always do things the hardest way possible, and I would love to stop. So I guess I'm gonna try and work forward on this PTSD. The other little flashes I have are related to a driving incident 10 years ago, and I'm mostly over that, but occasionally I have a falling dream where my temperature gauge is red lines. But you try driving a car without a functioning timing belt for 22 consecutive hours and don't develop some sort of like, about vehicles, cars, and overheating and stuff. Anyway, those were my final thoughts. What are yours? Seriously, like, obviously, this is a problem lots of people have, especially in the neurodivergent community, because trauma's everywhere. Our trauma triggers, whoops, boom, here we are. And I just hit my hand, and we'll see how this goes. I would like to, thanks Slides Go for having such a nifty template for this PowerPoint that I really hope I get to use. And here are the resources that I used for this, and I will also put these links in the description below. So, Sorry about all that, guys. Had some stuff we had to get out, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget to always tuck and roll.